Hello and welcome! My name is Daria Volkova. In this channel helps you to utilize Grafana to its full potential. Today's topic is the variable panel. You know those dashboard variables you create in dashboard settings? In the core Grafana, they always appear on the very top of your dashboard with either multi or single select functionality. They are usually used to bring filtering capabilities to your visualizations. The variable panel builds on top of all that and allows you to display your variables in any area of your dashboard. Depending on your threshold, display a color next to the variable value. Design more complex visuals like collapsible tree views. Choose a sticky position options that allows you to always have your variable in front of your eyes while you're scrolling your dashboard. Are you ready for the demo? Let's go! I think I should start with the primary use case. In this example dashboard, I monitor the temperature of 16 devices. The temperature graph is displayed using built-in time series visualization. The device filter is here on the left. I can place it on the right, bottom, or anywhere. This green circle next to the device name indicates that the device temperature is acceptable. It also could be orange for warning and red for danger. How to set this up? Let me open the time series visualization in edit mode. In my query, I select time, device name, and temperature from a table I built in the timescale database. I limit the selection by the list of device names. The list comes from the device variable. The details for the device variable can be found here in the dashboard settings. Then variable menu, click on the variable name. It is a query, a simple select of all device names from one table. I allow multiple selections and include all options. Here in the preview of values, I see all my 16 devices. Note that for Show on Dashboard, I choose nothing. For labels and value, I would see this at the top of my dashboard. And for the value, I would see this. But my idea is to replace the built-in variable display completely. Hence, I select nothing. Let's get back to the time series visualization and click Discard. Now I open the variable panel in edit mode. Selected panel, variable. As you know, any regular Grafana visualization panel requires a data source that fetches data to display. With a variable panel, it is a little different. A variable panel does not require a data source. If I now disable the data source query and in the variable section I specify a variable to display device, then that simple configuration generates a list of all values for the device dashboard variable. I allowed multi-selection and include all, that's why I have checkboxes here and the all option. Note that nothing comes from the data source, meaning the selected data source here is irrelevant. It's unusual, but this is how the panel works. Even though a data source is not mandatory, it could still be used to provide supplemental information if needed. I enable this query A and make table view on. I have the list of all devices and the latest temperature on each in a data frame retrieved by my data source. If I limit my query by adding where name is device 1, device 2, and device 3, only 3 devices out of 16 are fetched. If I switch back table view to off, I see something interesting. I have 16 devices and 3 of them have a green circle. The green circle comes from the threshold. I can add 2 other colors, orange for value greater than 50 and red for values greater than 80. To reiterate, the variable panel displays all values of the selected on the right-hand side variable. To display the threshold, you need a corresponding data source with a specified query. The final result is the list of variable values supplemented by the data elements from your data source. To have statuses for all devices, I can simply remove this where clause and here you go, all values of the variable device have a corresponding color. I just covered the basics of the variable panel. The single variable functionality most likely satisfies about 80% of all variable panel use cases. For the remaining 20%, let's move on and review how multiple variables can work on your dashboard. For that, I open another dashboard, Matrix Multiple. In this use case, my devices are distributed all around the world. For each location, I have country, state, and city. The location data elements are hierarchical, with the country being at the top. That means all locations are split into countries, every country is divided into states, and every state is divided into cities. When I create dashboard variables, I start with the variable country. Query select distinct country from devices. The following variable is state. Query select distinct state from devices where country is in country variable. Next is the city variable. Query select distinct city from devices where country is in country variable and state is in state variable. For the device variable, I want to select all devices but limit them by all three geographical variables. Select distinct name from devices where country is in country variable and state in state variable and city in city variable. I don't want to see these four variables in a standard drop-down box, so I specify nothing for all. Then I add 4 variable panels on my dashboard. The differences between panels is in configuration here. For every panel, I select an appropriate variable name. Optionally, I can add a maximum device temperature into every panel and set up colors in the threshold section. That way, my dashboard immediately shows which region has at least one device with exceeding limit temperature. Here is the final view of the dashboard. I can limit the countries to Singapore. That automatically defines states and cities related to Singapore only. I can see that I have 2 devices in the selected geographical region. If I select country United States and then state Illinois, then I can tell that only one city is in that region, which is Chicago, and it has 2 devices. Multiple variables are no doubt more functional than a single variable, but at some point they seem messy. You can organize your variable list as a collapsible tree view. Let me open another dashboard for that. I have countries at the top level, then states, then cities, and devices in every city. To create such visualization, I click Add, select Visualization. In this window, I select the variable panel from the visualization dropdown. The difference between tree view layout and 2 others is that in tree view, elements have connections with other elements. Some of the tree nodes have parent nodes, some have child nodes, and some have both. To specify those connections, use a data source. I add the timescale data source, switch to code, and type select distinct names as device, country, state, and city from devices. Run query. Switch to a table view. Here is what my data looks like. Next, on the right in the variable section, I use the new level dropdown. I select country as a top tier to start from. This A is the query name from the left. Add button, then again new level, select state, add. The next level is city and the last level is device. I need to shuffle levels. They appeared in the opposite order. I need country, state, city, device. Much better. I hit apply to review the panel on my dashboard. Here is what I have. The dashboard variables are displayed in the tree view format, and I can select or unselect to control what device is displayed in the time series. I need to point out something important related to the columns names. For the tree view layout to work correctly, you must ensure that the variable names from the variable menu are identical to the column names retrieved by your data source. You can always use organized transformation if your data source is not SQL driven and aliases in the query are off limits for you, like this. Similarly to the single variable use case, you can have these colored circles as an indicator of status next to any tier of the tree view. For that, I add another query. Here I select the last temperature for each device. Device is limited by those specified in the variables country, state, and city. Configure the threshold, and here you go. The circles appear on the device level. I can modify my query and add the last temperature on the city, state, and country level. Add union and then select the max for each tier. Then here I have statuses on every level. The panel is a very new plugin. We're excited to finally release it and cannot wait to hear from you. Tell us about your use case in the comments. You are welcome to write a blog post and we will share it with the whole world to be amazed. The best way to stay tuned with what Volkov Labs is up to is to follow our community page on YouTube. You can participate in polls to decide what topic should be covered next. Remember to subscribe to this channel and click the like button. It's the easiest way to keep this channel alive. That's all for now. Thank you for watching and see you next time.